Hello there, everybody. This is Minor Dilemmas, and I was just thinking of starting out a little Minecraft series over here for people like me that, well, not necessarily completely in the casual gamer camp, are just kind of trying to work their way into the swing of things like Minecraft and, just starting out with some basic projects in Survivor mode. I tend to prefer Survivor mode just because I like fighting off the monsters and trying to get as much done as possible before the sun goes down. I know that some people like creative mode and you can spawn pretty much anything you need and want, and it's great for just kind of messing around and building things. But I find that I spend more time in Survivor mode, and sometimes it helps showing a guide actually in Survivor mode just because you can't spawn everything you want with a passing thought. So, before I start this series off, and excuse my voice if it's a little weird, you probably wouldn't know that because you don't know me, but I do have a little bit of a cold, so I might be on the nasally side today. So I thought I would start off just kind of showing off my world, the first world that I ever created, and just kind of showing people around and, going over just some of the basic things that I've built. Here is a good website for you if you want to just have a quick and easy guide off to the side for how to craft any particular thing. There are a lot of things that you can make in Minecraft, as you probably know, but they don't always have a common sense sort of structure to them. So if you're still kind of getting into things and you haven't really memorized some of the ones like, Redstone Torch or Jukebox, like all these things, this is a nice, quick, easy thing that you can click to on the side when you have a minute. So the first world I ever created, originally it was named Lunasa, which I believe is the Celtic word for August. Don't ask me why, I just made it in August and I wanted to do something a little different. My world was actually destroyed initially by a bug, one of the bugs that creates like a giant hole in the middle of the ground. I didn't know how to fix that back at that point. Now I do, but sadly I deleted that, but I kept the seed, so I just rebuilt everything in this first world. Okay, so starting out, this is my basic monster trap, if you want to know basically how it works. Okay, so you have these little things called hoppers down here, and they go over the treasure chests. Some of them, because treasure chests are kind of weird with their placement, I can't necessarily put them under the hoppers, but the hoppers will collect up to 5 things, as many as they can stack. Alright. And I'll explain a little bit more of this. But, okay. So the way the monster trap works is you go up to a height where monsters can just kind of spawn and hang out in the darkness. Monsters need certain levels of darkness in order to spawn. So you make this large kind of square holding chamber, I'm going to call it. And just kind of pop right in over here. This is not going to be good. Whoopsie! Okay. So, like I said, I am not the best at this game. Alright, so I made these just kind of little platforms here. So in the complete darkness, the monsters will spawn, and they'll wander around until they get bored and walk over here into the water, which leads to this little hole right there. And I made the outside of glass so that I could watch, because I'm kind of sadistic like that. Alright. Let's see. I did not make an opportune hole, did I? Whoopsie. So I'm just going to close this back off so my monsters can spawn. And because it's dark in there, they can spawn at any time of the day and not just, at night. So there are the spiders, zombies. There's a creeper just kind of hanging out. Well, a bunch of creepers, actually, now that I noticed it. I keep a bed here because beds are good for if you want to just get the night over with and create a good save spot. I hear a spider. So, this isn't a perfect trap. It doesn't deal with Endermen. It can kind of deal with witches. So, basically what they do is they fall down this large, kind of straight down corridor. And then they will impact and die on impact. So the hoppers will then pick up the monster drops. So things like bones, string, like all kinds of stuff. Witches drop a whole variety of things. So I don't want to stand around here all day waiting for something to drop because I can always show you how to build this later. Okay. So what I did here, I made these, oop, damn it. Didn't get to see it, did I? Sometimes they come down in an array, just constantly falling, and other times it's kind of piecemeal. But it does, it's a lot safer than actually trying to fight the monsters, and you get good stuff out of it. So, let's see. In this dispenser, well, in these dispensers, I put arrows. So, and I put a little trip hook wire here. So, when you set it off, and I'm about to get myself killed just to show this. See? Like, with it set off, yeah. So, the monsters will fall down here, and if they don't die on impact, ow, like that, if they don't die on impact, they will come out here at some point and be shot by these things, which hurt like heck. And then, if those don't get them for whatever reason, I made another one here. So, the trip hook wire, you see it as like a trap in temples sometimes with these kind of arrow dispensers. You can also do buttons, you can do like a redstone setup, and what I did here, which was this little pressure plate. So, I can step on that whenever I feel like and just kind of smite the monsters like that. So, and I have extra hoppers down here, so whatever gets smote, I guess is the term, will just pop on down here. So that's just to make sure that nothing gets missed. Okay, let's go to bed so we can get rid of the monsters outside. I like to build a little wall around my settlements and things just because that way you can still do stuff after dark. And as long as they're well lit, it doesn't really matter too much. The sound of zombies being burned alive by the daylight. I will need to explain this one a little bit more in detail in another video. But this setup allows you to use these tracks, and you just press a button and instantly go. Oh, there was an Enderman. Sometimes they glitch around. I'm just not going to mess with him. It used to be if you look directly into their eye. Well, no. It used to be, yeah, you had to look directly into their eyes originally. And nowadays it's just, you know, look in their general direction at all. And that sucks. So, just hop right off. This is my little train station. My boyfriend kind of helped me build it. He was the one who got me into Minecraft originally. Here's a nice little thing. These little, like, gate doors. They keep the monsters out, and you can't walk through them, but if you're riding on a minecart, it just kind of goes right through, which is nice. So, here's my little station proper, and I'll show you the rest of it soon. Made this little way into my settlement. Alright, so over here on the right, I got this little pointless well, and that is one of my iron golems, which are good to have around if you want to fight off monsters that spawn in your area, and they protect villages and villagers, but I think they have a fascination with water because I keep finding them, like, ending up in the water, and that drives me crazy. That one I have named Herbert. Don't ask why. And then over here, just a pointless fountain. I kind of messed it up, and there's another one. Hi, Daryl. Some melons and pumpkins growing over here. Again, just have a big ugly wall around my structure just because it keeps me safe. This is a nice little crop harvesting mechanism. I put these here just because otherwise I was afraid my iron golems would just kind of walk in here and stomp on everything. I'll show you how that works in just a sec. So, here's my house. It's kind of a big ugly eyesore. Some flowers. You got a nice little armor suit. This is Lucky. I named him that because the first time I ever went out to go find wolves, which you can tame into dogs using bones, I brought back a whole bunch of them, and they all died. I accidentally fell down a chasm, or almost fell down a chasm, and they just jumped right after me like lemmings. So Lucky was the only one who survived, so that's what I named him. And here's my little observation deck. I built it originally when I had no wall so that I could just see things. Got a little fireplace, a little kitchen area with food items. My totally pointless TV room that doesn't actually do anything. Here is, excuse that. This is my bathroom. Also doesn't do anything. It's just kind of, I wanted to build a house. You know what I mean? Let's see. This is my bedroom. And just got some things on the wall. Here's a little bunk bed just for the fun of it. Let's see. That's a little jukebox. Oh, and that's an enchanting table, which you can use to spruce up some of your tools and some fun stuff. Alrighty. Here's my little treasure room that are things labeled. Some of them are just kind of thrown in haphazardly. Let's see. Here's a little workbench. I also made this originally when monsters were just kind of wandering freely, just so that I could get to my sniper tower, as I call it. Let's see. Over here, I have a nice little incinerator for your companion cubes and anything else you don't want, because as you'd imagine, you can pick up a lot of things that you don't particularly care about, and just like watching things sizzle. So, my stuff isn't always the nicest looking, but it gets the job done. So up here I used to keep arrows, but I've taken pretty much all of them to my dispensers. So here's some arrow making tools, like flint and feathers, and just ignore the water bottles. I used to have a bed up here, but just if for some reason something got in, I would have a pretty good point to shoot just about anywhere in my place. Alright. And I have an external ladder. Over here is my little fishing dock. I've got a good sugarcane crop going in. There's a little waterfall. Over there is my main place where I mine. Or I have in the past. I think it's kind of drying up, or at least I'm getting bored of it. Here is the stable with some of my horses and mules and donkeys. I like at least one mule because, well, you can put treasure chests on them and make them like packs. And so they can be used as an extra storage thing. They're not always the fastest, which is frustrating, but just got some horses over here. Here's my chicken coop. They live such a happy life, don't they? I'm gonna get PETA up on here. Oh, this is my doghouse. I named a bunch of them after Wolf's Rain characters and also the animals and characters from Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire. Sadie, just because I like the name Sadie.